Before we get started, public service announcement. Ron Apart TV is back on YouTube and I'm promoting his new video, How to Build in Gallery Part 2. It's fantastic, it's brilliantly shot, it's hilarious, and it's just generally ace. It's his return to YouTube in about a year and a half. It's a bigger return than RTD, so go watch him, go give him likes and comments and views, and subscribe to him if you haven't already, and obviously subscribe to me as well. But be sure to check it out. Hello everyone, Clack of the Geek here, and welcome to another Bond ranking. Today we're going to be ranking Timothy Dalton and George Lazenby's films from worst to best. Now originally I wasn't going to do this one because, like, you know, Dalton only had 2 films, so for me it's always like you need to have 3 or more things to do a ranking video, and obviously 2, it's just not enough for me. It would feel really weird ranking just 2 things. But then I remember getting a comment saying, like, would you rank Timothy Dalton and George Lazenby's films in this series? And originally I said no, but I figured if I just combine them together, I've got 3 films that I can rank, so let's do it. So as I've said, Timothy Dalton is a brilliant Bond. He's my second favourite behind Roger Moore. And it's really odd that I find Moore and Dalton my 2 favourites because they're such polar opposites. Moore is the most light-hearted Bond and Dalton is the darkest. It's so weird that I find that, but the thing is, I just enjoy those 2 so much. I enjoy their performances. Those 2 both gave, in all of their films, great performances, no matter the quality of them. And I think all the other Bonds, there is a film where I find them not as good. But anyway, yeah, Dalton's Bond, I love him. He's the closest to Ian Fleming's Bond. He's dark, ruthless, but always enjoyable to watch. And he essentially walked so Daniel Craig could run. I wish people appreciated Dalton at the time, but I'm glad that now he has his fans. And so we're going to rank all his films plus Majesty Secret Service in this video. In last place, we have The Living Daylights. Now, I do genuinely really love this film, but one of them obviously has to come last. But I think all 3 of these films are great, and I do, as I say, really enjoy this film. Obviously, this was the Dalton film that I reviewed in the Bond Marathon series I did a while back, but, you know, pretty much repeating these points, you know, Dalton is terrific in his first outing. He's dark, gritty, and real, you know, something new and fresh for the franchise at this point. I do quite like Cara as a Bond girl. I know like, a lot of people criticise her for being naive and being incompetent at times, but I think she has competent times as well. And it just makes her feel more, you know, human. Like, you know, she makes mistakes, and it's sort of a bit different for the Bond girls, in my opinion. And it's not done in like a, you know, like a Mary Goodnight way, for instance, where she just hopeless. It's different, and I think I like that. It's a really cool spy story, quite a bit like From Russia with Love. It's a bit of a spiritual sequel to that. You know, in the tone, it's a lot darker, and, you know, whole Cold War spy stuff. It's the last one that I think really properly utilises that, but it's really good. But it's still entertaining to watch. You know, you've got some fantastic action, like the pre-credit scene, the Aston Martin chase and the cello case escape, the sniper section, the massive fight on the Hercules plane at the end. All absolutely fantastic stuff, and it's so much fun to watch. Some brilliant music from John Barry, which was his last Bond film that he did as composer. Plenty of great moments, and, you know, like nice like espionage stuff. The villains are a bit weak though, and that's the main issue with the film. Like Pushkin's alright, you know, Necros is a decent henchman, but Brad Whitaker, like, he's meant to be the big bad and he does nothing. So, easy contender for the worst Bond villain. Also a bit like Octopus, this film's plot on, like, sort of, it does get a bit tangled at times when it's like, you know, whose side is who on. You know, it does get to a point where it does kind of get a bit like muddled. You're not quite fully sure sometimes, but other than that, this is a great Bond film in my opinion. At number 2 is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the only George Lazenby Bond film, and this film just gets better and better and better every time. The more I think about it, I mean, I rewatched it the other day, and it just got so much better. And my criticisms, whilst they still stand, that they're nowhere near as prevalent in this case. My main criticisms are George Lazenby's lack of acting experience does show, and especially when he's disguised as Hilary Bray in, like, the second act of the film, and it is that part of the film that does kind of drag a bit. But to be honest, it didn't bother me as much as it did on first watch. And I think Lazenby does have some really good stuff, you know, especially when he's with Diana Rigg. They are brilliant together, and the final scene, he performs that perfectly. Speaking of Diana Rigg as Tracy, she is just one of the absolute best Bond girls. She's just tough, capable, and just the romance and the chemistry between her and Bond is just, you genuinely want to see them just, you know, live a normal life and, you know, get married and live it you know, but obviously that wasn't meant to be. This version of Blofeld, Telly Savalas, is pretty cool. I like how he's more of a physical match for Bond. Irma Bunt's a great henchwoman. There's some great action stuff, especially in the snow. It's, you know, like skiing stuff and the car chase, and the final fight at Blofeld's, you know, laboratory is fantastic with all the helicopters, and it's brilliant. It's also one of the absolute best looking Bond films. Peter Hunt did an outstanding job directing this film. It looks stunning, like, especially for 1969, it still holds up to this day. It looks gorgeous, and the locations are great, the characters are great, and just the music is great. One of John Barry's absolute best scores that he did. And this film is just fantastic, just all around. Hello, future me popping in just for a sec. Why did I not mention the ending of this film? You know, when Bond and Tracy are married and Tracy's killed and that we have all the time in the world scene. Like, that is one of the absolute best and most impactful and most mature moments in all of Bond for such a mature film. But at number 1, Licence to Kill, one of my all-time favourite Bond films. It's top 3 for me, I think. This film is absolutely terrific. It is the darkest Bond film. Like, in the 1980s Bond films, you know, they come back off of Moonraker, they wanted to go more gritty and darker. You know, you start with For Your Eyes Only, which I think the reason that didn't work for me was because it felt too much of a jump from silly to serious. But they sort of slowly built on. They were getting a bit more, you know, serious as they went on. And this film, like, it's still entertaining to watch, but it's dark, it's brutal. The kills are brutal. The gore, it makes me squeamish, even though I'm used to horror films at this point. Dalton is given a lot darker stuff to do, so he can really flourish so much in this film, and he's absolutely outstanding. This is Ian Fleming's Bond, just leapt off the page here. Carol Wells Pam Bouvier, she's one of the best Bond girls. We've had Robert Darby as Sanchez, one of the most despicable Bond villains ever, and like, his death is my favourite Bond villain death, when he gets lit on fire at the end with the lights that Felix gave Bond at the beginning. You know, Felix, bear in mind, you know, Sanchez killed Felix's wife at the beginning and Felix got his leg eaten off by a shot. It's just so satisfying seeing that. It's my favourite Bond villain death. It does feel a bit, this film, like an 80s action movie, but I'm not complaining because it's so well done and it's still got that Bondian quality to it. But, you know, there's some brilliant stuff, like some brilliant action scenes, like the tanker chase at the end is fantastic, and a lot of the explosions and the chases and the fights, it's so brutal and well done. I also love how Q gets to, you know, do some field work, and this is Q's best appearance in Bond for my money, you know, and all the different gadgets that he gets, you know, the laser camera and the exploding cigarettes. It's brilliant. It's an absolute travesty that this film is the lowest grossing Bond film, I believe, in the box office, because this film deserves so much more love. I mean, it didn't get it then, but I think it's so good, and I adore it. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. How would you rank these films? What are your thoughts on both Dalton and Lazenby? We can discuss that in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss a thing. And this is Clack of the Geek, signing out.